Hi guys, today we're going to be learning about squares. The first term that we're going to be using today is going to be the definition. So a square is a parallelogram with 4 parallel sides and 4 congruent angles, which would be 90-degree angles. So we're going to have with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. The properties of a square: for our opposite sides are going to be parallel, and all sides are going to be congruent. All 4 angles are going to be right. The consecutive angles are supplementary. The diagonals are congruent. They're perpendicular. And they bisect each other. Remember that bisect means cut each other in half. Don't forget that. Also, the diagonals are going to bisect opposite angles. They're going to bisect opposite angles. So let's make sure that we have a second and we have all of this in our notes. Remember that you guys can pause the video, write down your notes, and then continue on. I'm going to erase what I already wrote so I can continue and make more annotations. So now we're going to look at our square here on the right, and I'm going to put the marks for our square. We have all sides are congruent. We have opposite sides to be parallel. We have diagonals are perpendicular. Perpendicular means we are making a 90-degree angle here in the center. They're also congruent, and they bisect each other. That means that we make 4 equal pieces with the diagonals. I also know that my angles are being bisected, so that means that the angle is going to be cut exactly in half. So that is going to be equal to that. Because all of the angles are right angles, that makes each and every one of these 45 degrees. We had already talked about this, guys, before when we did our special right triangles. We had already talked about this, that a special 45, 45, 90 comes from a square. So we should already know that. Each angle is 90 degrees on a square, and the diagonals are going to cut it exactly in half, forming the 45-degree angles. Then we also know from our notes that our bottom 2 angles, if I add them up, they have to give me 180. They're supplementary. Every single side, also the 2 angles, can add up to 180. The 2 on the top have to add up to 180 as well. The 2 on the side have to add up to 180. And all 4 of them have to total 360. So don't forget that. Now that we have all our markings in our picture, let's move on to our examples. So let me clear that for you. And we have example number 1. Example number 1 says math is a square. M-A-T-H is a square. If MA, so we're going to mark what we have. If MA is 8, then what is AT? Well, we know that every single side is the same. So if MA is 8, that means that AT has to be 8. Okay. Now let's clear that and move to the next example. For the next example, they're telling me that I want to know the measurement of angle HST. So remember, we start at H because that's the first letter. So H. We move towards S. That's our vertex. And then we come down to T. Right here. I want to know the measurement of that angle. From our notes, we know that both diagonals are perpendicular to each other. That means that we're always going to be forming a 90-degree angle. So therefore, angle HST is going to be 90 degrees every single time. Let's move on to the next question. The next question tells me that I want to know the measurement of angle MAT. Remember, we start at letter M, go towards A, that's my vertex, and then I have to come back down to T. So I want to know the measurement of this entire angle. Well, this is a square, so I know that every angle on a square has to give me 90 degrees. So MAT is going to be 90 degrees as well. Move on to the next question. The next question is telling me that I want to know if HS is 3. If HS is 3, I want to know HA. So my question is find HA. HA is the entire length. Don't forget that our diagonals are being cut exactly in half. So if that's 3, this little piece is 3, and the whole thing is just adding 3 plus 3. So my answer would be 6. Then they're asking me also, now that you have HA, find MT. MT is the diagonal right here. We know that they're both the same. So if HA is 6, then MT has to be 6 as well. They're equal. So let's clear that and go to example number 2. On example number 2, it says square ABCD. Use this square ABCD and give the information to determine the value of x. Fun. So now we're going to put what we have in our picture. So they're telling you that angle AED, so AED, this angle right here, is 5x plus 5. And I need to solve for x. Well, from previous examples and from our notes, we know that every time we're forming a 90-degree angle here in the middle. So to solve for x, all I have to do is put it equal to 90 degrees. Okay? Remember that to solve for x, we have to get rid of the numbers. So we put minus 5 on both sides. We cancel that out. We have 5x equals 85. We divide both sides by 5. So our x equals, let's use our calculator. Oh, where is it? I guess I can find it. So we'll do 117. Okay, so x equals 17. So please write down any questions that you guys have so that we can answer them. Let's move on to question B. On question B, we have angle BAC. BAC. Remember that the letter in the middle is the vertex. So angle BAC is 6x plus 9. This angle right here is 6x plus 9, and I want to solve for x. The first thing we need to remember is that every single angle of a square measures 90 degrees. The diagonal is cutting the angle exactly in half. So that makes this angle 45 degrees. So to solve for this problem, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do 45 equals 6x plus 9. And then we're going to solve for x regular. So we draw our line. We put our minus 9 on both sides. Cancel it out.
Good morning, Scorpion.
So we know that 45 minus 9. 45 minus 9 is just going to be 36. Equals to 6x. We divide both sides by 6. Cancel it out, so x equals 6. Okay. Please, if you guys have any questions, write them down and ask me anything that you need. If not, make sure that everything in this video is on your notes. I will be checking them at the end of class, so make sure they're there.